Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Leads. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and Where the 99 Leads, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we discuss many different topics surrounding the university, the many different colleges, athletics, academics, Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, Kentucky College of Optometry, one of the newest programs at the university. And today we talk about one of the newest athletic programs at the University of Pikeville, esports. So glad to welcome Eric Van Hoos, esports head coach, and James Williams, esports athlete at the University of Pikeville. And, Eric, you've been around the University of Pikeville, then Pikeville College, and the community much of your life. But let's talk about your background for those that are tuned in that do not know Eric Van Hoos.
So after I graduated from UPike, I moved into working at the IT department here, and I worked here since 2012, and then kind of evolved to start doing the esports program once it started.
Natural fit for a guy who's interested in IT, tech, probably been a gamer since you could walk.
Pretty much.
And now coaching the esports team at the University of Pikeville. Also, James Williams, esports athlete, joins us. James, give us a little background on you. Where do you come from?
I'm from Manchester, Kentucky, and now that I'm here at the University of Pikeville, I'm a junior and studying biology.
Very good. From Clay County, and like Eric, I would imagine that many gamers have been gaming their entire life. Talk about your start in the world of gaming.
My gaming experience started probably whenever I was around 3 years old and old enough where I could hold a controller and understand somewhat of what was going on.
What are some of the first games you remember playing?
First game I remember playing, it was on the Super Nintendo, was Super Mario Brothers and Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball.
A great system and both great games.
Yep.
That I've actually played myself. Your favorite game system of all time?
My favorite game system was probably PlayStation 2.
Okay, very good. And Eric, first game you remember playing?
First game I remember playing was actually Dr. Mario. My mom was actually like addicted to that game, like had a problem.
Yeah.
And so I started playing that with her when I was as young as I can remember. But the one that I remember the most is definitely Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
like
sure.
that one was, I played that so much.
Sure.
So.
And what game system?
N64, definitely. That was like opening that for Christmas was the best.
Still popular today. The N64 and Super Nintendo you see from time to time as well. There are many people tuned in that have no idea what we're talking about. Esports at the University of Pikeville, one of the newest athletic programs. But for those that haven't tuned in before, when we introduced esports to the Pikeville community, the UPike community, tell us, what is esports?
A simple definition is basically competing at a high competitive level in any video game. And so we're offering scholarships for students to compete, just like basketball offers scholarships for them to be competing at a very high level in basketball.
Sure.
We're offering it for them to compete in a game called League of Legends right now.
Right.
And we're looking at offering some other games hopefully next fall.
Right. The collegiate league that you're a part of, we'll talk about in just a little while, but that is the game that is played across the world, but not just in that league, but apparently there's a huge following of this particular game around the world as well. Talk about that a little bit.
There's 67 million people that play it every year. There's 27 million people that play it every month, and 6.7 million that play it every day. And
hugely popular.
yeah, and we have actually just today, as of filming this a couple hours ago, ESPN just released a statement saying that they're going to be starting ESPN Esports, and they brought up their website and Twitter account and all that just a few hours ago.
Wow. It's growing, and I would imagine it's simply natural because there are so many gamers out there for enjoyment, but now there are also professional levels of gaming as well, and esports enters the collegiate world. UPike, the second school to offer scholarships for esports. What's the benefit of offering scholarships compared to playing at perhaps the club level?
It offers us a structure. There's actually I'm actually there to coach and to kind of keep that structure there instead of it just being led by students. So there's they're always there. There's somebody there to kind of make sure that they're there for their games, they're ready to go, and those kinds of things. And we also are able to recruit some quality players and those kinds of things. But the other thing is that it legitimizes the program more, and it really helps out with putting it down on resumes and those kinds of things.
We're talking about esports at the University of Pikeville, and that's right, electronic sports, gaming, and college scholarships are available. Competition available for these esports athletes at the University of Pikeville, and not just Pikeville, but talk about other colleges that offer esports programs. While there aren't a great number that offer scholarships necessarily, there are a huge number that participate.
Absolutely, there's tons that participate. There's the University of British Columbia is actually the big dog right now. They're the ones that are going to be the one to beat this year. Robert Morris obviously was the first to offer scholarships for it. UK offers has a program. Duke has a program.
Sure.
Most colleges at this point have at least a club program.
Sure.
But we were the second to offer scholarships, but now after this semester, there's now 5 that are offering scholarships, and there's a few more that are getting ready to announce.
You talked about recruiting students that play these games at a high level. Talk about what that process has been like for you.
It's been a little odd to get used to, but something that's really helping out is the Collegiate Star League is who we go through, but they also have something called the High School Star League. And the High School Star League is basically a collection of, just the same as a collection of 2,000 schools that at the high school level that have created teams, and they have teachers or counselors that are there to be basically coordinators for them.
Sure.
And so now we can kind of scope out talent that way and kind of scout that way.
Sure.
And because up until then we didn't really have a way to, but that started really picking up steam this fall, and so we've been kind of going through that now.
Talk about the response from potential students when they learned that the University of Pikeville had an esports program and was offering scholarships.
The admissions department always tells me every time they go around to schools, whenever they'll be talking, sometimes kids aren't really responsive during those visits and things like that, but as soon as they mention esports, they always see like 5 or 6 that kind of perk their heads up and they really start to pay attention.
Sure. And it could be an opportunity for some that are into gaming to find their niche while attaining a college education as well. That may be their thing. And I've seen some gamers that I would never attempt to play anything, including Mario Kart, going back to a classic game for those of you out there with these people, because they're incredibly skilled. The hand-eye coordination and being able to work through the games is just incredible. To those of us from the earlier editions of video gaming, when we can remember Pong, and it was a big deal.
Right.
And those game systems, the Atari 2600, one of the greatest game systems of all time.
Definitely.
A little before your times. But you talked about the Collegiate Star League. How did you hear about that organization and decide to go that route with UPike?
So the Collegiate Star League last year was actually a qualifying league for the NACC championship, the tournament that Riot sponsors. And so we joined, we kind of caught an eye on them then, and then so this past semester they kind of evolved into their own program. So now they are their own tournament structure, and so we've joined with them and another 750 something schools.
Wow.
That are all in that tournament now.
What are the types of schools that are in the Collegiate Star League?
There's everything from Ivy League to, there's Ivy League, private colleges, community colleges. There's pretty much everything. Like there's schools in every state, in every district, everything. So,
What has the competition level been like?
we've really ran into some tough competition. We ran into Florida International was really rough for us, and Kansas State were both rough games, but we enjoyed them both. We've learned a lot from them, and it's been a lot of fun.
Indeed. James, tell us about your gaming experience and about the game, League of Legends, because there are many of us outside the gaming world that we have no idea what that is.
Yes. Coming to Pikeville, being able to find like-minded gamers and people I can play the game with was really fun and rewarding. League of Legends is basically a 5-on-5 team game where you're just trying to destroy the enemy's base, and the map is divided up into 3 separate lanes, and there's a jungle that separates each individual lane.
League of Legends. Had you played it before arriving at UPike?
Yes, this year will make about my 3rd year playing the game.
Very good. And how did you learn first about League of Legends?
I was actually at a summer camp, and one of my counselors there introduced me to the game.
And other gamers. I know you guys talk. You get together, you talk about games and things like that, possibly even online with players from around the country or around the world. Tell us how detailed is the study of League of Legends?
There's a lot to it. A lot of professional teams will practice 18 hours a day just because there's so much intricacies in strategy and like your timing and reaction times need to be so precise and in peak condition to be able to compete at a high level.
Wow. And League of Legends at the University of Pikeville, how strong is the competition among teammates?
We get pretty competitive with each other. We always like seeing who's the best, and we poke fun at each other. It's all in good fun and just trying to make each other better.
Who is the best?
I would say it's probably our mid laner, John. I'm not going to lie about that.
Oh, okay. Very good. James, what were your thoughts when you realized you could be a part of a college esports team?
It was one of those things where I never thought it would be a possibility. Growing up playing video games, playing traditional sports such as baseball and golf and basketball,
Sure.
I never would think that actual scholarships will be available for video games, and it's something I'm really enjoying, and I'm excited for the opportunity.
Coming out of Clay County High School, you come to the University of Pikeville, and that was before esports were here. What was your focus and your goal coming out of Clay County to Pikeville?
Coming to Pikeville was to get a biology degree and become a doctor eventually.
And that's still your academic goal?
Recently I've come to the conclusion that I don't want to be a doctor, and I'm trying to discover what it is that I want to do.
Professional esports, is that a possibility?
It could be, you never know, but I'm looking at other options.
There you go. James Williams, esports athlete at the University of Pikeville, our guest, along with esports head coach Eric Van Hoos of the University of Pikeville esports program. I've got to have the T-shirt. Who knew? UPike Esports. They have their T-shirts, an athletic team at the University of Pikeville, just as you would imagine any traditional sports team at a university or college. But esports still very new, and many of us out there that aren't gamers or don't have gamers in our family, it's completely new. We have no idea what this is about. Eric, I've got to ask, esports, you're playing in competition against colleges and universities across the country. Where do the games take place?
So all the games are actually completely online. So we're able to play from here. We don't have to travel to the other schools and things like that. So we play from here. They play from their facilities or their dorm rooms or wherever. And as long as they've got 5 computers, they can play.
Sure.
Really evens the bar there.
For those of us that are just completely ignorant, are all 5 computers that are in play at a particular time all in the same room? Is that necessary? Could it be played from 5 different spots on this campus?
It could be played from 5 different spots, but for us, we play all there together to increase the communication and things like that. They actually are all sitting in we actually have our top jungle, mid, and then the ADC and the support, who are kind of a duo. They sit next to each other, and that way they can all kind of communicate a little bit better.
Okay, you just lost me completely.
Sorry.
Okay. How do you get to be a jungle player?
So basically, you kind of just start picking based on what champions you like to play, and then you kind of move into those roles.
Okay.
And it's kind of the same thing as like point guards and things like that as
Okay.
in other
So
sports.
positions, you've got a forward, you've got centers, goalies, and those kind of type of things in other sports.
Right. It's just kind of where they generally hang out on the field, and then they can move to other spots, but they usually kind of, whenever there's not action though, it's kind of generally gravitate back towards those positions.
Very good. Tell us about the team, esports. Obviously, James is a member of the team. Talk about how many players are there? Only 5 at a time. How many players are on the esports team?
Right now we have 17 players or 17 team members that are a part of the team. We have 2 teams of 5. We have some subs, and then We have a couple of student assistants who kind of help me with the analysis and breakdown of games and things like that, and kind of go through and find out what their some of their stats are. And then we have some students who also help us with the broadcasting side. We actually do a live broadcast for almost all of our games on Twitch.
Sure. I've got to tune in, and I have seen, since we met last with League of Legends, I've actually seen some of the video, and there are play-by-play commentaries and analysis done of these, much as you would imagine any other sports. It's very interesting to me because it's something that I've never participated in, so it's all new to me and a little over my head, to be quite honest with you. James, tell us about what position you play and the role that position has in the game.
I play in the jungle, and mainly what my job is to roam around the map and put pressure wherever I see that whatever lanes would need help, and I just kind of dictate where we put our resources.
Are you something of a defender against the other teams?
You can think of it that way, but it's also something where I can defend or I can attack and go to somebody else's lane and put a lot of pressure on them.
Lurking in the brush
Exactly.
and attacking out of nowhere.
Exactly.
I'm learning this game. I'm learning this
We'll have
game.
you play in no time.
I know. James, I hear you guys have gamer names. My 14-year-old son, he's a gamer, and he has his gamer name that he uses in all of his gaming. You guys have gamer names. What's yours?
Mine is MASH, and it makes it a lot easier for us because we have two people named James, so they just call me MASH.
MASH. And where did that come from?
It's a long story. Whenever I was a freshman in high school, I played baseball, and we won our regional tournament. And so we went to a party, and one of my friends' little cousin had problems saying my name Marsh, which is my middle name, and he was saying MASH like that, and guys just kind of made fun of me, and it just kind of stuck.
It stuck, and it works well. And how well known is MASH throughout the esports world?
Probably not very well.
Yeah,
It's
I
getting
would
there.
imagine it will be before long.
Yeah.
You know, those that have dared to enter the jungle area, they've encountered MASH.
They will fear the wrath of MASH.
There you go. James Williams, esports athlete. Eric Van Hoos, esports head coach at the University of Pikeville. This so intrigues me. I really look forward to being able to just stand back and watch a match. Now, is there that possibility? Do you have fans that are able to watch these matches, these games, and tell us about the arena, because it's very different than any that we can think of. It's not the Hambly Complex. It's not the Expo Center.
Yeah, so for us, it makes a lot more sense for the in-game portion to be what we kind of project out as for the fans to watch. So most of our fans watch on a streaming service called Twitch. And a lot of people stream on there and things like that. You can watch people play almost every game that's known. And so you can go on there and watch our games, or for anybody that's in the room there, we have two lines of for the two teams, and so they're all kind of clustered there together. And then so usually there's a couple of us that are there watching from in there, but we usually try to keep that to a minimum because we want to keep them focused on what's going on in game.
Right. So instead of a crowd cheering and rooting the team on, you'd prefer a much quieter atmosphere, much like golf.
Yes, they're very focused in on it, and but we always, as soon as the games are over, we usually jump out to the Twitch chat and see what everybody's saying, because the Twitch actually has its own chat, and so we usually jump out to see what everybody's saying about the games. And things like that.
And what kind of following do you have?
We've actually gotten quite a few people watching our games. I know Jonathan is from Missouri, and he always starts sending it out as soon as we're getting ready to go into a game. He always starts sending it out. So we always have some people from Missouri, and then there's always, of course, a lot of people from around here that are watching.
Sure. Of course, you have an arena. What's it called?
It's the iBuyPower Arena at UPike.
Very good. Is it in a secret location?
It is not. It's over next to the student lounge right now, and we invite just about everybody to come over and check it out. We usually have at least twice a week we'll have admissions bring a tour through or two to kind of check things out there.
Absolutely. James, sounds like a team has access to the very top of the line equipment and technology. How does that make you a better esports athlete?
It allows your reaction times to be a lot faster because you have the right gear. There is no kind of input lag or anything that makes the game slower than what you actually do.
Talk about the equipment involved. What is used in gaming with League of Legends?
It's typical, like a typical mouse and keyboard, but they're very high-end types of things. Like you have normal golf clubs and you have higher-end golf clubs
Sure.
that make it better. It's the same thing in gaming.
But no special equipment. If it would look like a keyboard and mouse that I might have in my office.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can play. Actually, you probably could download it and play it straight from your office.
I wouldn't last long.
We can teach you.
Is this a game that's played to the death of the players?
It is to the death of the players, but they always respawn.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's usually at the beginning of the game, the death timer is around 20 seconds. Towards the end, it's usually up towards about a minute.
We know of the Mid-South Conference that the University of Pikeville athletic teams are involved in. Are there conferences in esports?
There are. So the way the CSL breaks things up is they break it into the 4 regions: north, south, east, west, and then after that they break each of those into separate districts. So we were in the South 3 district. So we were there with 7 other teams, and so we came out last semester in first in our district. And so now this semester we've been reseeded into another South district that's kind of based on how well each team did.
Sure.
And so now we'll play with those teams and try to compete to get into the playoffs in March.
Who were some of the teams last semester that you Pike beat down?
We played against Wichita State was our first. That was we won pretty handedly.
Beat down? You got to talk smack.
We did. I was trying to be nice, but yeah. And then we played against Florida Central. We beat, and then there was a community college that was in our region that we beat pretty handedly. There was quite a few that we.
Wichita State. It's a huge college.
It is, and they had a good team, but that was actually our first game, or our first official game. We came out pretty strong on that.
Very good. Tell us about the teams that are in the district this year.
This year we're in a district with a team from Oakland, a team from South Carolina. I believe there's a Michigan team that's going to be they're going to be the team to beat in this. For us to beat anyway. The team up in Michigan will be the one.
And do district champions, regional champions, do you advance then in postseason?
Yes. So February 20th will be our last game of this regular season, and then after that we can go on to the playoffs. I believe it's the first and second out of each region. Out of each district will go off into the playoffs.
Very good. And of course, last semester you had a fall schedule. Tell us about your record and some things like that.
We finished the season. We finished the first half of our season 5-2, and so we were going into this one 5-2. And like I said, came out in first in our district.
Sure, it's very good. How exciting was that first win?
It was great. We were really excited, and it was everybody was really pumped.
I would imagine. We're talking with Eric Vanus, esports head coach at the University of Pikeville, James Williams esports athlete, and you've now developed a partnership with the Kentucky College of Optometry. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be working with them on some of their research projects. So they're actually going to try to help us develop some training regimens and things like that for esports because it doesn't exist yet. There's obviously sports therapy and things like that for every traditional sports that you can think of. So we're kind of trying to blaze a trail there for the therapies and things that we'll be able to use for esports. And we're also doing some tests and things with some of their glasses and things like that for the team. We actually got them some specific lenses that reduce eye fatigue from staring at a screen for that long because they have to be there for a long time. So we got some things that we're testing out and things like that.
How long does a typical game last?
Anywhere from, technically the other team can surrender at 20 minutes up until usually about 45 minutes. Games have lasted up into about an hour and 10, but at that point it's getting to the point that somebody's going to win. At that point.
Right. Esports. James, how's it been balancing classes, practices, matches, things like that?
It's definitely a challenge, just like it would be with any other sport, having to balance between classes, especially when I'm a biology major. I have a lot of hard classes that I have to put time into, and for the esports, but you just have to put in the time and put in the work to be able to do it.
Sure. Eric, being a coach, you're responsible for practices and matches and those schedules. What steps do you take to make sure that the players are successful in the classroom as well?
We've actually implemented study hours. So any freshman and anybody that has maybe a little rough semester, they are required to have some study hours and things like that. And we actually encourage everyone to take part in them. I think most everybody is going to be taking part in them. Even a few of them that are, well, not a few, but most of them aren't required to, but they're going to be taking part as well.
Sure. What are some of the short and long-term goals you have for the program?
Short-term goals, I would like to add some more sports and or more games and things like that in the fall, and just kind of start recruiting for the fall and kind of build the team up that way. But long-term goals, I'd really like to see this see us become more of a leader in the field. I want us to kind of be known as one of the top schools for esports.
The big dog.
Yeah.
If you ever begin a seniors league that maybe plays Mario Kart or Madden 1, I'm interested.
Listen, I'm actually a professional at Mario Kart. I can totally do that.
Tecmo Bowl, I'm there.
Now that one I haven't heard of.
Really?
I haven't.
I got something on the gamer. I got one on the gamer. Eric, of course, prospective players, they could contact you if they're interested in getting more information about the program. We want to find out how they can do that, because I'm sure there are high school students that might be considering the University of Pikeville interested. How do they get in touch?
They can get in touch with me by emailing esports@upike.edu, or also just going to the UPike website or the upikebears.com website.
Eric Van Hoos, esports head coach at the University of Pikeville, our guest today. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And James Mash Williams, League of Legends legend, an esports athlete at the university. James, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Can I call you Mash?
That'll work.
I'm liking the Mash. You don't want to mess with the Mash. Esports at the University of Pikeville, one of the top new programs, one of the athletic teams at the University of Pikeville. That's been our focus today on this program, brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. Thanks for tuning in.